guys, what's up? Welcome back to another planty video. My name is Shannon and this is Planted 386. If this is your first time here, thank you so much for stopping by. I understand that there is a plethora of planty content out on the internet, so anytime you choose to spend some time with me, I'm always very appreciative. If you're returning, thank you so much for being here. Thank you for subscribing and for your support. It has been a whirlwind of a couple months, and that is why I have not been on here as much as I would like to be, but I thought today we would just kick it off with some plants that have been bringing me joy. They have been thriving despite how I feel, and I just think we have some bangers in this mix. So I'm really excited to share them with you, and I'm hoping that you will stick around until the end because I have some doozies that are, they live outside. They're too big for inside, and I will be sharing those with you at the end. So without further ado, let's get into it. I should preface with there will be a lot of anthuriums in this video because they have just been popping off for me recently, and I just have some really amazing growth that I want to show you. And the first one I have is my variegated vittarifolium. So if you've been around, you know that I'm a huge fan of Anthurium vittarifolium. It is one of my most treasured plants in my collection. I actually have 3 of them now. So I have the variegated one, and then I have my main mother plant, which sits up on top of my Plantlets cabinet. And I had accidentally got shipped one from the Green Escape, and so I have 3. They are amazing. I find it to be a very easy anthurium to grow, and this one is no exception. I got this as a teeny tiny little baby. You can still probably see a couple of her little baby leaves that she came with. They are holding on strong. She is currently putting out this leaf for me right here. And I'm just stoked to see this grow into a beautiful mature plant. One thing I've noticed about vittarifolium is the root system is not like a traditional anthurium root system, like big, chunky, fat roots. I find that this one tends to run a little on the thinner side in terms of roots. Like you really can't see them too much in this pot. And that's because they just tend to be a little bit on the finer side. But I just think the variegation on this specific specimen is absolutely amazing. I did get this from Blue Moon Tropicals, and if you've been around, you know I bang on about them all the time because they just put out quality plants. And so yeah, I'm really excited to just see her grow. She's already grown so much in such a short time. I actually got her in June, so she's really not been around that long to have given me this much growth. So anyways, that is the first one I have to share with you. That is her biggest leaf. I just can't wait for these to like get huge and drape down the pot. I would love to see this in a different pot. This is not like my favorite setup for this plant, but she's just not there yet. She's not ready, so we will just stick it out where we are. And then the next one is actually not an anthurium. There are going to be some non-anthuriums in here, but the next one, I'm just gonna kind of drag her over, is my Monstera aurea. I don't even know how I'm gonna get this totally in the frame for you guys, but let me just give you a spin around. I'll have some close-ups of everything on the screen so you can get like a better shot. She actually has this leaf coming in here. And one thing I absolutely adore about this type of variegation is that you don't really know what you're getting until the leaf fully hardens off. I think they call it Polaroid variegation. And yeah, I just think that that's really cool. It's a really cool feature of the plant. The variegation on this one has been spectacular so far. She is a little bit dusty and could use a bit of a dusting. She could also use a better setup than what I have her in. That is kind of why you can see here she had started to fenestrate and then she kind of reverted. And that's just because I didn't have her on any kind of support for a while. She was just kind of like living free. But in terms of browning, I can't say that I've had much of an issue with that. This leaf here is presenting a little bit of browning, but that is because she got poked by a cactus that I had her next to, and I think that just kind of like weakened the plant in that, or the leaf in that area. But overall, it has been such a pleasure to watch her grow, and she's grown really, really well for me, much quicker than my albo, much quicker than my Tycon. And so, yeah, she's just constantly doing something. I would say she gives me a leaf every 6 weeks or so. I would say I get a leaf from her. I could propagate it, but I don't think I'm going to. I think I'm just going to continue to let her kind of grow a little more. I'd like to get her in a better setup, so that's kind of something on my to-do list. And yeah, I just thought I would share her. I don't know if I've shared her yet on the channel. I have had her, let me see if I put a date. I don't think I did. I didn't, but I have had her, I would say probably since like March or so, and she did come to me as a 3-leaf cutting shipped to me in the mail from a local grower, and yeah, she took right off. I had no issues getting her started, getting her going, and I just think she's a lot of fun. She's a lot of fun. Okay, so next is, I'm not sure again that I've ever shared this one on the channel, maybe in my full like Anthurium collection video, but this is a hybrid. And this is one that I actually got from Plants and Pamperin, which is an Etsy seller. I got quite a few Anthurium from him, I would say around October of last year. So I've had this plant for quite a while now. A little bit slower to take off for me, but this was also, I was pretty new to Anthuriums and I didn't really know what I was doing. So I kind of chalked that up as part of it, but let me tell you what she is. So she is Selby Silver cross Forgetii cross with Dock Block Michelle. So it's kind of like a complex situation, and that is something that I did appreciate about buying from him. I have not bought from them in a while. No reason in particular other than I'm out of space. And yeah, so this one started out like, the reason I chose this one is because of all of them I did select these by myself. Like I went to the place and I was actually able to select my own plants. The reason I chose this one is because of the venation. It didn't really have like a crystallized venation, and it was one of the few that presented like that. And at the time, I didn't have a forgetii. I didn't have anything without prominent venation. So this was kind of the most subtle Anthurium in my collection at the time. So I just think, yeah, it's taken her some time to take off. Some of her leaves, you know, there's a little bit of browning. This one looks decent. This one looks okay. But this is her newest one, and that's what's really gotten me excited over this month. I feel like we're finally established in this pot that I have her in, and I feel like she's really starting to take off now. So yeah, I was really excited to see this leaf. It seems she has another one coming, and this one's not even fully hardened off yet, so that is a good sign. And I just think she's so cute. I mean, I know she presents very Forgetii-esque, but I don't know. She has a little bit of, I don't know. I'm drawn to her. I think she's really pretty. I think she's really, really pretty. And I'm excited to see like where this next leaf is going to take us. I also love this pot that I have it in. Let me see here. Oh no, that's the sheath that this leaf came out of, but it does look like she is going to give me another one. Probably once this hardens off fully, she'll give me the next leaf. And I'm just kind of hoping that we can keep the watering under control. I think that's kind of where I've ran into issues with this in terms of like browning and things like that. So that is her, super cute. And then next is my Zara. And I think I showed my Zara. Honestly, I think she was in my last favorites video. But she is just, this is so exciting. This is so exciting for me to have her in this state because, again, I got her as a tiny little seedling. In the last video, I think it was my October favorites, I talked about how I had gotten her. I paid like $35 for these 2 tiny little leaves. And if you've purchased fancy Anthurium as seedlings, you know what I mean. It's like, oh my gosh, is this thing gonna make it? Did I just waste like all of that money? But it has been a journey. It has taken quite a bit of time to get here, but we are finally starting to look like an established plant. And this is her most recent leaf. I don't believe she had this. I think this was the leaf that I showed you guys last. And so this is her next one. And then we have another one on the way. So like, she's really starting to settle in. Let's see, let's check her roots. Oh yeah, roots are looking good. Not poking through the bottom of the pot yet, so I am not going to repot her just yet. I typically like to repot my Anthuriums once the roots start to come out of the bottom of the pot. That's when I like to repot them. I have pretty good luck that way. I notice that if I don't repot them, they will sort of size down. The next leaf won't be as big, and that's just kind of like my indication that they like the room. They really like the room to spread their roots in the pot. So yeah, I just think she's so beautiful. The more mature the leaves get, I don't know if even the coloration is coming out on camera, but she has the most striking red like veins. And in the sinus, she's got like that little pink sinus. And then when the leaf hardens off, it's just this beautiful dark green. It's a very interesting green. It's not like any of my other Anthuriums. It's its own unique shade of green. If you have a Zara, let me know if you know what I mean by that. It's just, I don't know what it is. It's so beautiful, so juicy. I'm not gonna bang on long about it because we just talked about her, but I'm just enamored by her. All right, you guys, we're gonna switch it up a little bit, get out of Anthuriums. For those of you that aren't like diehard Anthurium fans, I do wanna keep it fair and interesting. So the next one is, I don't even know if I can say it on YouTube, so I'll just have the name on the screen, but it's this amazing little cactus that I did get from Blue Moon Tropicals. And, you know, I'm pretty sure you can gather what it is, but I got it, oh man, I probably got this back in like July or August, something like that. And this thing has just grown like crazy. Like it's just taken off. Like I really haven't done a whole lot to it. I actually never even repotted it because it was, I think it was lightly rooted when I had received it. So yeah, very interesting, this guy. And so what my plan is to, he also put out a pup, as you can see. So my plan is to separate, if I can, and get this into a bigger pot. His roots are coming through at the bottom, so that tells me he is fresh, or he is very happily rooted. And yeah, I don't know, it's just interesting. I have it next to my booby cactus, and I just think it's fun. You know, it's fun. I have him in this fun little pot, which obviously he's probably not gonna be able to stay in, because if I repot him, obviously it'll be too big for the pot. And yeah, I find myself looking at it in the window and just kind of getting a little chuckle. I think it's fun. John loves cactus, so, you know, it's one of his favorites as well. So that brings me joy. Yeah, I just think he's cute. I've never shown you guys him. I don't think I've ever shown him on the channel. So yeah, he's one that's just kind of made me laugh this month, brought me some joy. And then the next one is my Rhipsalis micrantha. Let me hang it so you can get the good look. I have shown her before, many months ago now, but if you've been around, you know that I am a huge Rhipsalis fan. There's just something about them. I love the way that they grow. I think they are so cool. They are pretty thirsty. I find them to be pretty thirsty for, you know, I guess cactus family. Like I could give this thing a drink all the time and it would be totally fine with that. However, that being said, it's not one to freak out if it misses a water or something like that. Rhipsalis are just very forgiving. They're very forgiving, and I find them to be so elegant. Like I love the way that they hang, the way that they drape. I love the way that the new little arms come in, sort of like that pretty chartreuse. I've probably shown this maybe 3 times. She's heavy. 3 times or so on the channel. I just can never get enough of it. It hangs in the window, in our big window that kind of overlooks the dining room table, and it just looks so graceful and beautiful hanging in that window. So yeah, there are a couple pieces that are a little dehydrated here, as you can see, but that's actually, I think, just from the weight of the arms. I think that it kind of pulls them out of the pot. And so, yeah, I have thought about taking some cuttings, and I have taken some cuttings, and they rooted with ease. But yeah, there's just something about, I would love to see how long I can get this to trail. I got this back in April, so I haven't had it for that long in the grand scheme of things. And when I got it, it was pretty much like just to the edge of the pot here. So it's definitely grown quite a bit in that time. And I just feel like if you are looking for something that will add just some grace and elegance to a space that's not going to cause you any fuss at all whatsoever, look for a good Rhipsalis. There's so many varieties, and I don't know. I just think they're amazing. I just think they are absolutely amazing. It may seem like I'm kind of rushing about, and I hope it doesn't feel that way. We just have 15 or so plants to get through, so I don't want it to be like too long of a video. Although if you've been around, you know that I do tend to love a good show and tell, and I do love a good long form video. So anyway, next up is my Anthurium villenaorum. I hope I said that right, villenaorum. This one I got back in April as well. This was from the Green Escape, came in as a tiny little babe, and I will say this is one that's been a little slower for me to grow. It's just kind of, I don't know, it went kind of dormant for a while, and I think it was just sort of establishing itself to this pot. And another thing that I've kind of noticed with Anthurium is they don't seem to love terracotta. So once this one is ready, I do plan on removing it from this terracotta pot and putting it into just my traditional Anthurium setup. At the time, I've been learning Anthurium, I've been studying them and trying to figure out what they like and what they don't like. Another thing with this plant in particular is it's like a crawling Anthurium. The word is escaping me right now. Terrestrial, I believe. And so the petioles remain shorter. So what's happening is anywhere that the leaf touches the pot, as you can see, it's leaving this browning. It's done it on every single leaf, which is unfortunate. So again, another reason why I kind of want to get it out of this situation, but excitingly enough, after quite a long wait, she finally put out this beautiful leaf for me, and yeah, I'm just super duper excited to have it. I think this Anthurium is very underrated. I don't see a lot of people talking about it, and I think the venation is so striking, so striking. So yeah, that was quite a surprise to see. I can already see where it is kind of crisping or melting a little bit, like right here, and I think that's just because this one, it seems to need space. Like, it can't touch anything else. If it touches something else, it seems to want to melt. So I'm gonna have to rethink this one's spot. And it sits on my vitro shelf right now. It seems to love the amount of light that it's getting and all of that. It's just, I need to clear out more space so that as it grows, it's not touching anything. Perhaps I might move it to the top so that I don't even have to worry about that. But yeah, I just wanted to show you guys because, you know, I know me personally, I don't really see this one too much. I don't see it talked about too much. And I just think it's lovely, absolutely lovely. I will definitely get shots of all of these for you guys so you can kind of see them a little closer. I know sometimes on camera and when I'm talking about them, I'm moving it around and you might not get the shot that you'd like, but I always try to have a little bit of a, you know, something on the screen for you. Yeah, really striking Anthurium, I find, anyway. And I do have to say, I am a sucker for a terracotta pot, especially once it starts to patina like that. Oh man, beautiful. That is her. We are on the up and up. Hopefully she will give me another leaf relatively soon, because I can say I'll wait a couple months for a leaf, and that's not typical of my Anthurium. Next is my Anthurium veitchii, you guys, my veitchii. Now she is kind of wonky, going everywhere. It's probably gonna be hard to show you. She's got her new leaf coming right there. Yes, the new leaves when they emerge are so beautiful and fun, I think. She's got a pup. I mean, she's definitely pupped at the bottom. Let me take it out of this huge pot, this big obnoxious pot. Ugh. One thing about veitchii though is the leaves will go every single which way. I do have a couple of the leaves tied together, and I'm kind of thinking about adding this one to the mix so that it just presents a little nicer, because otherwise this thing will just go everywhere. The leaves tend to chase the light, so they will direct themselves in whichever way they need to direct themselves to find lighting, which is a cool feature. One thing about it is watering is a little bit, that was something I had to gather with this one. I don't find that this requires the same amount of water that a lot of my other Anthuriums do. So it's one of those things where this one can dry out a little bit more than my others. And that's just something that I had to learn over time. I did get some like yellow spots and things like that, just, you know, in the mix of trying to figure that out. This one also is a little bit slower for me to grow. It's not one that gives me a leaf after leaf. So that's just the way it is, and that's perfectly fine. I got her, I don't remember. I got her a while back now. It's been a while, but it is my second veitchii. So the first one, I think it got something fungal and it just didn't make it. But this one, I felt like I did a little more research. I felt like I got to know it a little bit more, and I've had pretty good luck with this one here. So yeah, for me, it's just the petioles on this specific plant. I would love a narrow form of this, but like, where am I gonna put it, you guys? You know, where are we putting all these plants? I want them all, but really, where are we putting them all? It is a joy to see like the baby one growing. If you've been around, you know that I have never propagated any of my Anthurium, mostly because I would like to breed them. That is my goal, is to start making some hybrids. So yeah, I just, you know, I just am not at a place where I feel like I want to chop them. And I just love watching them grow. I love watching how big and majestic they are and become. So yeah, while I like to experiment with propagation on pretty much all of my other plants, my anthuriums are I'm a little more precious about those. But yes, I think she's looking great. This leaf is looking great. I love when they first come out, they lay so beautiful and flat, and then they just like go crazy. But anyway, I thought I would share her. Sorry, that was really close. Thought I would share her just because I can't tell you the last time I showed my veitchii, or if I've ever shown my veitchii outside of my anthurium video. She is quite dusty, definitely needs a wipe down for sure. But overall, I would say she's looking great, and I'm really excited to be here, like to have a well-established veitchii, because there was a point where I thought, maybe that's just not the one for me. You know what I mean? Okay, I've got a wonky and weird one for you next. Here we have Cissus quadrangularis. Okay. She is a weirdo, for sure. This plant is not going to be for everyone. It is strange. It marches to the beat of its own drum. But if you can appreciate a plant that marches to the beat of its own drum, this is the one. I just find it to be so cool. It is very thirsty, though. One thing I will say is, again, kind of like my Rhipsalis micrantha, like I find these jungle cacti, I'm not even sure, is this a jungle cacti? You know, I should do a little research on it. I'm not 100%. I know that it's part of the grape family. That's why it has these like grape like leaves. They tend to be way thirstier than what you might think. My doggo accidentally broke this arm off. This was fresh growth. So I just stuck it in the soil, and I'm kind of hoping that it's going to root. Super cool though, super duper cool. I have it in a like beaded hanging situation, and it looks really cool. I wonder sometimes if these arms are too heavy and that they're going to like break up. It kind of reminds me of like dragon fruit, if you've ever seen like a dragon fruit, and how those arms get so heavy. So I'm not really sure how to go about like supporting it, or perhaps I should just like, you know, maybe take this piece off and try rooting it to fill out the pot a little bit more. But I don't know, I just think it looks super cool. It's so weird. It is so weird. It's definitely one that's like people are gonna be like, what is that? Who is that? What is that? You know? And I have to admit, there is a part of me that loves plants like that like make you ask questions. And come on, look how cute when the new like growth comes in. Oh my God, it's so cute. I know Unplanned Parenthood has one of these, and I think that's actually where I originally saw it for the first time. And she showed hers, and I was like, oh my goodness, like, I need that plant. I could also probably pot it into a deeper vessel, and that would help in terms of support. I'm not really sure where I want to go with it yet, but I wanted to share it with you. It's definitely something different. I don't really see it talked about a whole lot in my, you know, in the planty content that I watch. So yeah, just something different for you guys today. And then next is another anthurium, but it's another one that I don't ever hear talked about. And so this is Anthurium spectabile. So it is a strappy leaf. Very interesting in the way that it grows, kind of bushy, kind of all over the place. A very, very easy anthurium. It did come with a bunch of, like this, I think maybe the last of its like original leaves. It did lose a lot of leaves when I put it into this pot as I was kind of like getting to know it. Again, I got this back when I didn't really know a whole lot about anthuriums, and actually I would say this is quite a hardy one because it's one that I wasn't super precious about, and I experimented with it a lot. So at one point I had it in like one of those wooden orchid baskets, basically just like growing in moss, and it didn't love it, but it also held on. And then I finally, I mean, it sat like that for months, and like the moss would get totally dried out. Poor thing, poor thing. And then I finally, like, I got this pot and I was like, you know, that would be perfect for that anthurium. I'm gonna put it in there with some soil. So it went from moss to soil, and there is a drainage hole in this pot, but it's not a very big one. So yeah, I mean, it seems to like being in this format much better. You can see where the original, like where it's kind of brown right there. Let me see. Right here, this is where like the original plant, you can tell like it just slowly fizzled out over time, but it definitely pupped out in multiple different places, and here we are. Here we are. I have this really beautiful, I think it's beautiful, little fun, strappy guy. He kind of just like hangs at the door, and I think he looks really lovely in this pot. And again, it's just not one that you see talked about very often. If you're into strappy leafed anthuriums, this might be one to check out. I could definitely prop this one. And this is one I may experiment with in terms of propagation. Like I could see quite a few spots that I could prop it. But again, I just love them so much. I love to see like what becomes of my anthurium. It's my favorite genus by far. So yeah, it's got some new leaves coming in. Not much to say about it. It's just different, and I wanted to share it with you guys. Okay, so this one has quickly become one of my most favorite anthuriums, like ever. And so this is Anthurium titanium crossed with fingers. So they called it Titan's fingers, and man, oh man, like there's just something about these leaves. For me, this like, butterfly looking leaf. I can't get enough of it. So this is like an older leaf, just so you guys can kind of see like the evolution of how this thing like took off. Kind of went there, and then we went here, then we went here, and now we have a new one coming in, and she looks so fluffy. Like, I don't know, the petioles on this are rather large, rather large and in charge. That's not my favorite thing in an anthurium, but these leaves, I literally can't get enough. I think this is such a stunning plant. Actually, I don't know if you guys can see behind. Let's see. I do have another one in here. So when this first released at one of my local growers, they don't sell online, unfortunately. I had purchased that one, and I mean, she's pretty, but she's not presenting the same fluffiness as this one. So I purchased her. She actually gave me some strife. I found her kind of challenging to grow. She's doing really well now, and I do need to get her out of this situation because it's too bright in there. She's hitting the lights, and I really don't need two of them, so I'm probably going to rehome her. But several months later, I went back and I saw this one, and I saw like the different characteristics that this one was presenting, and I had to have it. I just had to have it, and I'm so glad that I bought it. I love her. I think she is so beautiful. I keep her right up here above my Mills bow, wide behind me, and like I look at it every single day. I look at her every single day. She is in ambient. She's growing beautifully. She's not one to like leaf after leaf after leaf. She is a little bit slower, but I mean, my goodness, there's something about this leaf. I know I keep saying it over and over and over again, but like, whew, I don't know, you guys. I don't know. I love like a clarinervium for that same reason, those like beautiful ruffled edges. It just does something for me. And yeah, I mean, I think this is such a stunning hybrid. If you come across one somewhere, I would definitely snatch one up. I just think it's so cool. I just think it's so cool. I mean, you do have to wait a little bit before you can get like, you know, it has to mature and do its thing, but like, look at this new leaf, you guys. Oh my goodness. It is going to be so beautiful. I cannot wait. So yeah, that is a different one that, again, I don't really see mentioned or talked about. And then the last Anthurium that I have, I think this is the last one. I'll have to double check my notes, but in front of me right this second anyways, is my Anthurium papilillaminum. Wow, I mean, this has been a journey. It's been a journey to get here. So this one I got from Ecuagenera. I'm fortunate to live pretty close to Ecuagenera, and it was on my wish list for a while. We popped in and they had some, but they were fresh imports, and I had never taken on a fresh import Anthurium. So I thought for sure that this was going to like definitely crash and burn as soon as I got it home. And surprisingly enough, it didn't. It did really well until it didn't. And then all of a sudden it just started to go downhill. It went down really fast. And so I ended up having to go down to just the stump. I ended up cloching the stump. And after a very long wait, she finally gave me her first leaf, which I believe was this one. So she finally put out another leaf for me, and so that was super exciting, of course. And then from there, it's just been kind of like we're coming back. One thing about this is it does this sort of like spotty thing. If you guys have any advice on that, because my Queen Anthurium behind me is doing the same thing where it's getting the yellow spots. It hangs on to the leaves, but they just start to either yellow on the edges or like it gives me like these yellow spots. And so I've heard that that can be fungal, and I've heard that that can be lack of airflow. So, but I'm not really sure. I've also heard that it could be like nutrient deficient. And one thing is I do feed all of my plants every single time I water with a diluted amount of fertilizer. So it would be hard for me to imagine that it could be nutrient deficient, but I could be wrong. In terms of my queen, a lot of the root system is just in moss because as it's grown up, the aerial roots are just kind of like growing in moss. So I'm not 100% sure exactly what that is. And I kind of see that present with this papilillaminum, especially like on the edges. I don't know if that's kind of coming up on camera. Yeah, you can see that. Where it just starts to sort of yellow on the edges. Perhaps it's edema. Anyways, look at the leaf. Look at this emergent leaf, you guys. There is nothing, in my opinion, more striking than a papilillaminum emergent. It's just like amazing. It is the most beautiful burgundy. Like the camera's not even doing it justice. I will probably try to have to get like a picture. Maybe you guys can see that. Can you see that? Like it shows up pretty green on here, but like it is burgundy, like burgundy, and so stunning. Also, she's giving me her first flower, which I'm definitely going to cut. But I don't, you know, it's not, I don't think this is ready yet for flowering. I just would rather it focus on foliage. So I'll definitely get rid of that. I also have it in this interesting pot. I got this from the thrift store, but you can see these beautiful roots. So pretty. I love that. I love seeing like the root system through glass. I think there's something so cool about that. And it's also, you know, an easy way to make sure everything's doing all right. I almost feel like this is ready for a repot, to be honest, and maybe some drainage holes would do this good. Maybe I should put it into some drainage. I have been slowly but surely like eliminating all of my anthuriums out of no drainage into drainage, and I do feel like they do better in drainage. So anyway, that's her. Okay, so we're gonna move on out of anthurium for a second, and I'm gonna show you guys this one, which is my monkey tail cactus. One that I wanted for a long time. Like, I have been wanting a monkey tail cactus for a long time. Finally, they're not easy to come by around here, and oddly enough, a little place up the road from me, it's called the Arboretum. They don't sell online that I know of. I had gone into their greenhouse and I saw a huge mother plant, like a massive one. It was blooming. I mean, just, it was huge. Probably one of the biggest ones I'd ever seen. And they ended up propagating it, and they held one for me. So I went up and I picked it up, and I actually bought 2 of them. The second one I have is in the window. I don't want to take it down, but I'll get a shot of it because it's in like a spot that's hard. It's just hard to get it out of there. I have thought about combining the 2 into one pot. I don't know. These were really lightly rooted, she said, when I got them, and she said she had a hard time propagating them. So I do see some roots down here. I find it to be one that really enjoys water. It's like I could water this. I water this like I do all the rest of my plants, and it seems to love it. But it is so cute. Of the 2, I think this is my preferred, but the other one is so different. When I show you a clip of it, you'll see what I mean. Like, this one's definitely doing that like monkey tail thing. The other one is like short and stocky little stumps, and I think that one would make like a better mother plant to perhaps experiment with rooting. So yeah, anyways, so cute. If you don't have one of these, I highly recommend. I think they're so fun. And it's just been growing like crazy, honestly. It lives on top of my vitcho, and yeah, like I definitely see like growth each week. I can definitely tell that it's grown each week. Every time I go water it, I'm just like, wow, look at you. So yeah, super cute. I love the shape that he's taking on. And I do see a little root kind of poking out down here. So I'm thinking that it's definitely, you know, it's definitely taking on the pot. I wouldn't say it's ready for a repot, but yeah, just a fun little cactus. I can't wait for this to bloom someday. And then if you were here for my Hoya update video, which I believe was the last one that I put up, I talked about my Hoya sunrise, and I talked about it being one that I was thinking about getting rid of. I've just had nothing but troubles with it. Doesn't seem to like me, doesn't want to grow for me. And here we are, guys. Like, look at all of this growth since that video, which was about 3 weeks ago. Crazy. All I did was I moved it. You guys recommended like that I put it in brighter light. So I took it from my Blalladin cabinet, which is decent light. Most of my Hoyas tend to like the pink light too, like the Barina pink light. So you guys recommended like I put it in brighter lighting, and so I did. I put it in my Millsbo tall, which is tons of light. And boom, it's just like taken off. It has taken off. And so now I am enamored by it. Like, I cannot believe how much it's grown. You can definitely tell like the new growth. These two leaves here were the last, like all this is new, this whole shoot. That's crazy. This thing has not grown for me in like a year. This is my oldest Hoya. This is the Hoya that I've had, like my first Hoya, one of the first. So it should be much bigger than this. But yeah, that is super exciting. That has brought me a lot of joy. And I don't know, there's something kind of like, I don't know, there's something prophetic about it for me. Like in the mind space that I've been in recently, like, I don't know, just seeing that is inspiring. So super cool. I thought I'd share that with you guys. Thanks for the tips. Totally worked out. And yeah. Next we go on a little bit of a walkabout. So this is my Anthurium regale. And she is actually inside right now because it's pretty chilly here, believe it or not. And so I moved her in just because she is precious and one of my favorites. She's really like one of my most prized anthuriums. So anytime it gets crispy outside, I bring her in. And yeah, I don't know if you guys can even gauge like how huge this anthurium is, but she is just massive. I can't take full credit for for this mature plant. I did get her as quite a mature specimen. However, I got her around this time last year and she lived inside for a while until I realized like, no, this is not what she wants. She actually hated living inside over the winter. And I finally just decided, okay, I'm just going to move her outside and whatever happens, happens. Because she didn't put out a leaf I don't think she ever put out a leaf inside. But when I moved her outside, she started to give me some growth. And she also like crisped up really badly living inside. So she's definitely an outside girly. She does not like this time of year at all. I am gonna put her outside after the video. She needs a drink for sure. And let her get some sunlight, some air, and then I will bring her back in. It's been getting in the low 40s here, which, you know, our tropicals don't really love that. And yeah, I just thought I'd share her with you guys. Like that's my hand. She's huge. She is huge. I'm proud that I've been able to keep her alive, that's for sure. But yeah, I can already see like some browning. And I mean, she's been in the house for probably the last 4 or 5 days, and she just really hates the dry heat. Like, she just hates it. So, yeah, we do have a stray Alocasia corazon. This is the only way that I can grow alocasias is when they come, like, living in other things. I don't know what it is. I love them, but they don't like me. All right, guys, and if you stuck around to the end, these are the two that I want to share with you. This is my Philodendron gloriosum and my Philodendron summer glory. And I just kind of have them sandwiched together here, but they are like coming out into the pergola and just this whole setup, like the Monstera down to these two Philodendron. Like this, I don't know, this is just gives me like jungle vibes. They look so stunning. It's actually a little bit warmer out today, which is great. I do plan on watering everything, but let me see. I don't even know if you guys can see how tiny that little pot is that the summer glory is in. Look at that. Like, she definitely needs a repot, but she just keeps putting out these beautiful, amazing leaves. I wish she had a fresh one so you guys could like really see. This is this is an orchid back here, blooming like crazy. Yeah, and then I would love to show you separately, but they're kind of like intertwined. Here we go. Like, there you go. That's a better idea as to how big each one is. And Summer Glory is another one that I don't, like, I feel like it's so, I feel like it's so underhyped. Like, it's so top heavy, it won't even stand up. I feel like it's so overhyped. I feel like I don't really see people talking about it. And like you see gloriosum, 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 but Summer Glory for me is equally as striking. Maybe I might even like it a little bit more. I feel like it's definitely easier to care for because the leaves aren't velvety, so less issues with like browning and spider mites. I find it to be hardier, even though I don't typically have troubles with my gloriosum. I just find this to be a much hardier specimen. And I swear, you guys, I could come out here and stare at this all day long. This is her newest leaf. It's still got that kind of like subtle pink tinge, but when the leaves come out, they are so bright, so vibrant. I promise I'm going to give her a better pot, but we are going to have to wait. Now is just not the time. Because these do live outside, I definitely don't want to I don't want to pot anything up with the weather the way that it's been. We had to get her settled. She was giving me a hard time. She's definitely due for a repot. And then this is my gloriosum, and she just gets more and more magical each time I look at her. She just keeps putting out more and more leaves. Again, she is getting due for a repot. So what I'll probably do is put my summer glory into this pot, and then I have a beautiful white rectangular pot for her. But we're gonna wait. We're gonna wait until it's a bit better weather. It is like, I don't know, it's kind of shockingly cool for this time of year. Normally we don't hit these temps until December at least. So yeah, low 40s is, it's kind of early for that. So yeah, we're gonna wait. We're gonna wait on that. I just thought I would share them with you because, I don't know, I just think this is such a pretty scene and it just fills my whole heart coming out here. And actually the weather is finally nice enough to where, you know, you want to come out here and sit and enjoy it. It just gets so hot in the summer. It's like, yeah, it's not even enjoyable to be out here. But yeah, I have a lot of work to do out here, so we'll get on that now that the weather is cooler. Okay guys, that's all I have for today. Thank you so much for stopping by. If you stuck around to the end, thank you, thank you, thank you. I really miss being on here. I miss filming. I miss chatting with you guys. So it felt really, really good to just sit down in the cozy planty corner and just chat. I'm really hoping to get back to my regular scheduled programming, at least one video a week. I would love to be able to get back to 2. But yeah, things have just been a little chaotic. I've just not been feeling the best. And so it's just, you know, the ebb and flow of life. And so yeah, I'm just extra grateful to have been able to sit down today and film, to feel good enough to do so. And next up is to edit. Hopefully I'll have this out maybe today, maybe tomorrow, and come up with some interesting ideas for the next video. If you guys have anything you want to see, let me know down below. I also wish you a very happy Thanksgiving. Enjoy the time with your family and friends and loved ones as we come into this holiday season. It is the best time of the year. And so yeah, I will see you guys very soon. Bye.